I think this will be the day before graduation. So the next meeting here is gonna be the graduation, and that will be it for this, for this promotion. Hey, I'm so excited, and I mean, this is a dream come true to see the people we started last year, how they are closing out the year in a very, very, very beautiful way. I always say that it's easy to start anything, but the winners are those that finish well. And I think a lot of you guys, you guys finished this journey in a very, very, very good way. So I just want to congratulate you first. You are a winner. You are a winner. Tony Robbins always says this. He said most time in life we don't fail, and we could never fail anyway. Sometimes we just don't get the result that we was expected. And I believe the whole journey from last year, with this class actually started last year, right at this time. That was February of last year. That's when you started. And I mean, you try and you try, you set the expectation, and I'm sure your result keep shifting and keep shifting. And today you can look back again and be like, wow, I actually made a lot progress. Before I started, I want to share something very, very, very quick, which is more my personal story. I always like to share that because sometimes we could be ungrateful, or we can think that life is so tough of us if we forget about where we came from. So personally, everything was very tough with me. Everything was very tough. Not enough traditional education. I have to do a self-study. Everything I know, I have to either learn from somebody or figure out how people get the result. So, and, was born in Cameroon, a very, very small village in the west part of Cameroon. Back then, I didn't even have a reference point. I didn't even have people in my family or people that I could say that, well, I want to be like this person. I want to be like this. So even the dream was not there much, we didn't have a reference point and all that. But what I can say is that when I started business here, when I moved in the United States and started business, I figured something. I learned something. The number one thing I learned was that it doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter where you are. You can change your situation if you do two things. Number one, you model those that actually have the result that you are looking for. And number two, so number one, you model those that have the result that you are looking for. Number two, you learn the strategy, the strategy. You learn how to copy a recipe. Those are the two main things that actually changed everything in my life. If you know that Coach Doris, lead a woman group in a very, very efficient way, I would just model her. I want to follow her. I want to see how she's doing. Or I will get the recipe from Coach Doris, so I can have the same result. I mean, nobody told me this before. I mean, people brought, when I was, when I was little, they would teach us that, hey, if you want something, go out there and work hard. You will do it. Just work hard. That's what I was here. Just work hard, hard, hard. I didn't know what it meant. But these small two things, modeled from somebody, a role model, somebody that have this, what you're looking for, or trying to get a recipe. How the person got there. I think I shared this many times. It doesn't matter, you know, your level of knowledge or your IQ level. You can do whatever you want to do if you have a recipe for it. If you never cook, could you cook like the best chef in the world? Yes or no? Yes, only if you know exactly how to take the knowledge and apply in a very organized way. And I think that's what the School of Coaching, that's what we actually cover this year. Early this year, we touched few strong things that actually make us who we are today. And like I say, I learned the strategy from Tony. Tony is one of the best you know, he's the best in the world. You know, when you talk about strategy, life intervention coaching and all that, we don't have anybody better than Tony. Up to now, he counseled the head of state. He you know, he give us strength. He motivate. He counseled the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Army. So if somebody is lead general, you know, in the emotional area, in the psychology area, that means you know, we can learn something from the person. So this year, what do we cover? We cover the model of coaching. You know, what is coaching? Most of us, we you know, we talk about coaching. We hear the word coaching when you know, when you have to do with football or basketball or all that. So we deal with that. We deal with the approach, how to approach. You know, a lot of times we are so involved in conflict. You always have somebody that is complaining about another person. You know, you as the coach, you learn exactly how to deal with those type of things, how to approach, how to take yourself out of the equation, and then, you know, help with help with people. The second class was actually about the zone of the area of life. This is a life intervention coaching. So we talk about, you know, how to even pinpoint the need before we address it. A lot of time, even yourself, sometimes you can be frustrated, and not know exactly what is the problem, right? So just like, you know, myself, I used to, you know, complain like, oh, nothing. Use term like nothing is working in my life. Nothing is working in my life. I mean, nothing. Do you ever hear somebody complain this way? Like, hey, nothing is working, you know, nothing is working in my house. Nothing is working with my marriage. Is that true? No, it's not true. Sometimes we can take one thing and generalize, like, oh, nothing. My health is gone. Nothing is good with my health. No, if it's nothing was good, it was gonna be dead. So we learn how to pinpoint the problem. Okay, what is the problem? What exactly is the problem before we address it, before we solve it? So we deal with that during the second zone, how to identify the problem. Trust me, I'm one of those guys who used to generalize stuff. You know, if some area of my life is not working out with a man, nothing's working. So we learn how to deal with that in a very strategic way. Like, okay, what is missing? What do I need to work on it? What am I not focused on it? You know, what do I need to address? You know, so and then the third class was human needs. Oh my gosh, human needs. When I learned the human need the first time, I thought Tony was a magician. I was like, how do you know me like that? So he can talk to me about, you know, he can address me and tell me exactly how I think and all that. And that was so true. So the human need, which is a very, very great tool to understand a person and also help the person to go from where they are to where they are going. So it was great, the 6 human needs. And then we talk about the thinking, the emotion, how to manage the emotion, when emotion, how to manage our own feeling, how to manage our feeling, how to manage our emotion, how to create the reality we want to live, right? We learn how to flip ourselves from the beautiful, from the suffering stage to the beautiful stage. We master that. So know how to create exactly our reality, how to create our reality, the way of thinking, and then we establish that, whatever you want to feel, you can trigger that. You don't need a drug. You don't need to be drunk to feel good. You don't need anything to feel. You can change your state. You can wrap your state from the suffering stage to the beautiful stage, just like that. So we talk about that in a very, 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 in a very, very deep level, how to make a decision. Don't make a decision in the suffering stage, because, when you come from that stage, you are very, very low. You have to wrap yourself to the beautiful stage so you can make a decision. So number 5, we talk about the objective. How could you explain? How can you develop a strategy? How can you create a map to get exactly what you want? So we talk about that, and then we talk about the 6th step. The 6th step of parenting and all that. That was from the 6th class. So we addressed that, how to really how to take either the family coaching, the personal coaching, the group coaching, the corporate coaching, how to turn complaint, how to resolve a problem from the complaint standpoint. So we deal with that. Executive coaching, we talk about that. How to set up goal that can challenge you to become exactly what you want to be, not just, hey, before this class, I used to think that if I need to set the goal, I have to make sure I have everything I need to accomplish that goal, which was the wrong way of setting goal. So before I set the goal, I would say, okay, I have to have everything, which is completely wrong. Your goals must stretch you. Your goals must challenge you to become the person that can accomplish, that can have or own or accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. So it was very, very great. We learned about Crazy 8. We love Crazy 8. Crazy 8. Okay, if you are not part of the class, you may not understand why we do what we do and go back and do that and even say, well, I'm never going to do this again, and then go back and do again. Crazy 8. How to get out of the Crazy 8. We learn about breaking the pattern, how to change somebody rapidly just by breaking the person pattern and bring the person back quickly, just like that. So, the Crazy 8 technique was great. As I see Tony Tunde teach about how to wrap up and get out of Crazy 8, many times. Hey, as an African, the Crazy 8 is one of the tools I even use at the airport. I use that everywhere. Cut people and get them out of that. Break their pattern. Not only that, it helped me how to break my own pattern. The way you whine, the way you go down with yourself, the way you inflict pain on yourself in a very unconscious way. So it was, it was very, 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 very awesome. So I will continue with the rest in a few, probably here after the share of our guests. But before I wrap up here and let Coach Jacqueline share with us. I just want to talk briefly about, where all this teaching, how we actually put all this teaching together. This is not something I went and created. This is exactly what changed my life. This is what helped me, to every day to hold my marriage together. This is what helped me to manage my own emotion. This is what helps me to go from suffering stage to a beautiful state. Sometimes I may not want to wake up to get out of bed, but this teaching actually helped me to rile myself up and get up whatever I need to get up. Please, if you guys can keep me on a gallery mode so I can see everybody's face. Thank you. I just pushed back on the gallery mode. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm seeing everybody. Those that have the camera, I'm seeing them too. And I'm seeing those that are present. Earlier this year, we talked about being present. When you are present, what you get is different from what anybody else can receive. When Tony offered this type of training, sometimes there's 15,000 people in the hall. And I always do everything to sit right in front. Sometimes I stand up so I don't miss anything. And like I say, this teaching transformed my life. I can say that I'm a living testimony for this. From no education, no money, nothing, I'm able to, it's just like every day or every week, I can have a new business idea so quick. And I'm able to take one idea to like $15 to $20 million. $20 million because I learned this strategy. So what you actually learn here and all that, please don't take that lightly. This is thing that you can, we are getting the same type of idea where guys that are doing billion. This is exactly the tools they have in the toolbox. This can take you wherever you want to go. It's the best of the best. So today, we have a guest that's gonna be with us. I told her, I just told her I want her to be my coach. She's one of the platinum member with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins just have few people around him as a plat. Most plat, that people who do million. First of all, it's so expensive to even be part of that group. You pay you spend almost $150,000 combined, include trip and all that, just to be in that group. And I was so privileged to be close to her and in a plat group, and I share with her what we are doing and all that. And she was like, man, I love the vision. I love what you guys are doing. She have a heart for African continent. She have a heart and for business people just like us. And then I plead with her. I say, hey, please, would you take a little time out of your busy schedule and come and share with our student coach. Today is gonna be the last day in class. I want somebody to bring a different energy, different environment. And she said yes, and that was it. So Coach Jacqueline is she's a people person. She knows how to get close to people from the heart. You guys probably received her biography already. I spent like 2 or 3 days in Florida with her. It was mind blowing. I had to come back and change some stuff on my own schedule because of the way she poured into my own life. So today, be ready and pay attention. She's gonna give you something maybe you never hear before, or maybe you hear, but maybe not that way. And if you take this at heart, your life is never gonna be the same. I used to ask myself, what could change somebody's life? I used to think money. If you give like $1 million to somebody, that can change their life. That's not true. Go online live and go online and Google people who win like 100 million and they lost that after 2 years. What can change your life is information. Information. So somebody can give you $1 billion information, and I can tell you that today, if you pay attention and open yourself to really truly receive, you go home with at least $1 million information. $1 million information. So, okay, without taking much time, I will, I will call on Coach Jacqueline, Jacqueline Malin. The beautiful thing is that she speaks French and English. So I was like, man, what would be the best person that could come and address the English community and then the French community? Okay, my sister, so happy to have you. So happy to have you. You have the floor.
Hi, Raquel.
Could you put your hand together? Could you guys give her the warm welcome? The ILEAD Global welcome.
Yeah, boy, yes.
Well, hello.
Welcome.
And thank you, Rafael, for such a beautiful introduction. Can you hear me properly?
Awesome.
You are welcome, Jacqueline.
Hello, everyone. What an honor for me to be here. I feel so privileged to be celebrating this special day with all of you and to share with you such a beautifully diverse group logging in from different parts of the world, some of the distinctions I have learned along my journey as a global citizen and entrepreneur. My hope is that you will find in some of the lessons I've learned throughout my journey simple yet powerful tools that will be useful in moving you further, faster, with greater ease towards your goals while achieving in the process a better quality of life. It took me years to realize that my perceived differences and challenges, which for a long time I saw as weaknesses, were actually my strengths. So I was born in France, the sixth of 7 children, to an American mother and a Spanish father. Growing up, we moved often. Throughout my life, I have lived back and forth between Spain, Switzerland, France, Haiti, the US, and the UK. While in the US, I had lived in Washington, DC, and in New York, where I was studying. And then before returning to the south of France and then London to further my studies. I earned my graduate degree, that is my MBA, in Madrid, Spain. After that, I continued my frequent travels, exploring the world and moving back and forth again between different European cities and the US. Now I call Miami home. So hello from Miami. Wherever I've lived, I have always felt at ease, but never truly at home, as I was the sum of different cultures. I also looked different, sounded different, and behaved differently from what was expected. At the time, I saw it as a negative, and often as a child, I longed for a sense of belonging. I wasted years before realizing that my differences were my strength, and that those differences would help me in my success by allowing me to identify opportunities, adapt easily, and eventually build as a result 2 successful international businesses with a 3rd on the way. I am thrilled to be here in front of you today to share my path and the lessons learned along the way. I really, really wish that I had heard, learned, understood, or simply applied some of the following concepts earlier in my journey, as they would have saved me so much time, energy, resources, exhaustion, heartache, and so much more. So number 1, our perceived differences are our strengths. They make us unique and give us an edge. Being multicultural allowed me to pick and choose what served me and what didn't in the different environments I was in, and to utilize those concepts for my personal and professional development. It allowed me to identify missed opportunities and to create new ones. My frequent moves have also taught me to adapt easily to new circumstances and to bounce back quickly as a result. So embrace what makes you unique and share from that place as it is a gift to you and others. Second, identify your strong why and desired outcome. It all starts by knowing your why. Deeply understanding the ultimate reason why we need to reach the outcome we are seeking means that we will be committed to putting in the work and we'll find a way to reach that end goal no matter what. It gives us the strength and the determination to push forward when faced with the challenges life throws at us. It gives us a sense of direction and we eventually end up finding the way. Some of the things that have helped me create successful businesses were the early hardships I faced. I became a mother at the age of 16. The father of my child and I were married, but that union didn't last. And I was left alone with no financial support from him to fend for myself and my daughter. Those were difficult times. I was confused, I was scared, I was lost. One thing I knew for sure is that if I could help it, I would avoid at all costs feeling so insecure ever again. Those challenging times are what motivated me to go into business for myself. I wanted to make sure that through my work, both my child and I would be secured and protected. Knowing my why helped me face and tackle the hardships I encountered on my entrepreneurial journey. It kept me focused on my end results, which helped carry me through the challenges we all encounter when building and running a business or coaching practice or anything else we do. Third, flexibility and adaptability, in my opinion, are our utmost importance. I've learned that resisting what I had no control over did not serve me. It just delayed my identifying a different and often better way or path forward. And it just created frustration and stress. What we have experienced in the last couple of years really highlighted that as a necessity. For some of us, our businesses were shut down. I experienced that. Things that we had taken for granted or sense of security we had, all of a sudden were lost or restricted. So being able to go with the flow, adapting and offering little resistance to things we have no control over, help us direct our energy and focus on finding new opportunities faster. Fourth, be vulnerable, ask questions, listen, do not make assumptions, ask for clarification. It took me, again, way too long to understand the power of asking for help and support when needed. It would have saved me so much time and resources had I understood that earlier. For years, I had a difficult time showing and expressing any vulnerability. I wanted to do it all. I mistakenly thought that what I didn't know, I would figure out. But what a waste of time that was. By seeking help, whether through coaches, mentors, family members, the community, friends, or professional peers, we grow so much faster and we're able to accomplish so much more. No one has all the answers. And when we show our weaknesses, there are so many people who are willing to give us a hand, share resources, give us advice, make introductions, just anything to help move us forward. And when asking for advice, let's remember to listen. I've learned to not make assumptions, to ask a lot of questions, and to always ask for clarification when in doubt. Showing vulnerability is actually a sign of strength and a powerful tool to fast track our success and thus achieve more in life. I would encourage all of you to actually continue seeking that support that will help you get to the next level faster. All coaches, even the very best ones, have coaches and mentors to continue on their growth journey. I for sure will continue making that investment in myself. Fifth, leveraging others. Make sure to leverage the knowledge and skills of others. Both my businesses started from scratch. It took me too long to delegate and hire employees. And when I did, I hired people who were just like me. So that did not help much. We need to hire people who have the skills we lack. Our tendency is to surround ourselves with people who are like us. That's a mistake. We need to hire our weaknesses. In any type of relationship, it is important to surround ourselves with people who complement us. I would suggest that if your business or profession does not call for you to have employees, to hire nevertheless, as soon as you can, people who will free some of your time by delegating the tasks that are no longer essential, that are not essential to your growth. By freeing that time, you will be able to grow your business faster, contribute more, see and pursue new opportunities, nurture yourself, and spend quality time with your loved ones. It is really essential for our growth and well-being. We simply cannot do it all, no matter how hard we try and how indispensable we think we are. 6, reward and celebrate your accomplishments and acknowledge and reward those that work for you and do a good job. Another thing I've learned along this journey as a workaholic, a mother, a wife, then a single woman raising kids while managing my businesses, is that if we do not take time to celebrate our accomplishments, we end up losing the drive and joy that got us started in the first place. Pause and reward yourselves when any milestone is reached. That's so important. As a high achiever and someone who had other people looking up and depending on me, I just kept working, and working, being present for others, but never allowing myself periods of decompression to just rest, reset, and enjoy the fruits of my hard work. A strong work ethic is absolutely necessary for success, but I learned the hard way that we need to reward ourselves for each and every one of our accomplishments in order to keep going and thriving. So remember to celebrate your achievements, no matter how small or big they are. I hope that this evening you will be celebrating for being here today. I now make sure to celebrate each one of the accomplishments and practice gratitude every single day. Why is that so important? Well, to me, it's important because a few times along my journey, I lost the pleasure in what I was accomplishing for lack of having celebrated my achievements and having felt to reward myself. And when that happened, I started self-sabotaging. It used to be that when I finished a task, gained a new client, opened a new store, achieved a certain number, I was just like, okay, next. I never took time to celebrate or be happy. It was just task accomplished. What's next? And just putting more pressure on myself. I burned out twice as a result. With my first business, I arrived at such a state of exhaustion that at a certain point, I just wanted out. Unfortunately, I was a slow learner when it came to that, because in my next venture, which had grown exponentially very quickly, I once again failed to celebrate the different milestones, to rest, reset, and enjoy. As a result, I lost my momentum and once more lost focus on my why. Instead of expanding the business further, I started scaling it down. I was no longer finding joy in it. I was just seeing the negative, and that was all my doing. I would have felt differently had I taken time to reward myself with simple things, such as a day off, little shopping, an afternoon at the spa, a holiday, a dinner out with the purpose of celebrating what had been accomplished. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be a very small treat, or just acknowledging ourselves for something that marks that we have achieved that goal or milestone. That also trains our brains to look forward to our next achievement, which keeps us moving with anticipation in the right direction. So I strongly encourage you all to put less pressure on yourselves and to celebrate each and every one of your accomplishments, as they will compound and will motivate you to achieve even more. That in turn will propel you faster on your success journey. Which leads to self-care. I cannot stress enough the importance of nurturing and taking care of ourselves if you truly want to be of service to others. That's an imperative. If we deplete ourselves, we no longer have the strength and capacity to serve or to achieve our goals. So let's not see it as an act of selfishness, but rather as what it is, which is an essential part of our well-being. Another essential point is achieving success is to always deliver from a place of honesty and integrity, and to always provide the best possible products or services to those we serve. My heart and mind have always been at peace knowing that I have delivered the best possible products or solutions I could to my clients. And they recognize that, which creates goodwill, repeat business, referrals, even when problems arise. Exceeding expectation is a sure way to fast track your success. Last but not least, being insecure, I've learned, is a waste of time, energy, and opportunities. We owe it to ourselves and to the world to share our gifts and let our light shine. Also, I've learned that we receive what we put out. So give, love, and put yourselves out there. Finally, constantly remain curious, inquisitive, and challenge yourselves. That will open new doors and perspectives that will help you face any adversity you encounter. So here we are. Those are some of the lessons I learned and concepts I applied along my journey to building successful international businesses. There are many more I could have brought up, but we all have different journeys, and those are the ones that I believe can serve us all, no matter what industry we are in. I'm not saying that if you do everything I suggested today, that success will immediately follow. We all have our journeys. What I'm saying is that if you apply any of these concepts, whatever you aim to accomplish will be achieved with more ease. I wish you all to thrive and to become unstoppable forces for good while fully enjoying your journey forward. Thank you and congratulations to all of you.
Wow, 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 wow.
Amazing.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. It's a
This
pleasure.
is awesome. Could you unmute everybody? I think people are speaking, but they are muted. Who's controlling the microphone? Okay. Awesome, awesome.
If you have any questions, I'm more than happy and willing to answer anything you might have questions on.
Awesome. Awesome. So we will move to the question and answer very quick. You know, I was staying here on a platform with Coach Jacqueline. I mean, this is mind blowing. The taking away is just, you know, it's just powerful. And I'm sure you probably have 20 pages too. I don't write that fast. So if you have any question on what she actually shared or anything, I'll be here on a platform with her to answer some of your questions. So you can just raise your hand so we can just, you know, go in order. Just raise your hand digitally, and then we can bring you on to ask a question. Wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. And if you either question or if you have something to add, so just raise your hand. We'll just take a few questions. We'll take maybe 5 first people that's gonna raise their hand. So we'll start with Coach Annabelle. Coach Annabelle.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Coach Jacqueline. So you talked about vulnerability. So I just wish to know, as an entrepreneur, to what extent would you be vulnerable? What's the extent of the vulnerability of an entrepreneur? And then secondly, as a mother of a child or a single mother, how were you able to reconcile your pace at what the expectation was on the market and what you wanted for your child? So those are my 2 questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I should have taken notes while you were asking me. So to answer your second question about the how was I able to reconcile? Basically, I had, you know, it was again a very difficult, very painful time. I was not expecting the father of my child to disappear the way he did and not be of any support, emotional, financial, or anything. But at that moment, I didn't even have time to dwell on that. I had to take care of my child and I had to take care of myself. So that's what I did. I just got into motion And that's one thing that we all have to remember. We just have to get in movement, start the business we want to start, take the first step, just get moving, no matter what it is we need to achieve and do, or even to heal from any type of heartache, stress, difficult situation. Once we get in movement, things start slowly falling into place. So that's for the second question. I hope I answered it well. Could you please repeat the first question once more?
So my first question was, to what extent should an entrepreneur be vulnerable?
Well, honestly, I think there's no limits. We need to put in place, that's things I've learned along the journey, barriers that protect us, protect our company, and protect our loved ones. But I don't think once it's our business, there's any shame or holding back when there's things that are not working, things we need help with, finding resources, because anything we gather is actually going to be to the benefit of our growth and the growth of our company. I can understand that if someone is an employee of someone, they maybe don't want to show their weaknesses. You know, they might do, like they suggest, fake it until you make it. But as business owners or people who run our own coaching practices or anything, the more authentic and vulnerable we are, I think the more we build that goodwill, and people understand and trust us if they realize that, you know, we are being honest, human, and that we seek the answers that we need. It's better to say, I don't have the answer to that. Let me go back to you and seek that answer rather than to pretend, give something totally off. And that's when people realize, you know, this person is not being authentic. Maybe I should look somewhere else. I hope that answered your question. Rafael, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I think you actually you actually said it so well. I mean, you mentioned literally the same war. I mean, I learned something from Tony. The same war. Tony always said that the same war that protect us, prison us also. So, and when it comes to the power of vulnerability, a deep call out for deep. Deep call out for deep. The more I open to you, the more you open to me. The more I can be just you know, I think sometimes as a human being, we can sense one another's spirit. If I come and share deep things with you, more likely, the more I bring you deep inside my business, my life, more likely you respond from the same place. So if I'm just surface with you, more likely your response is going to be the same way also. And I think Coach Jacqueline is an example of that. When I met her, I shared deep things with her. I shared things about my life, deep my business. I was not telling her what I was doing. I told her how I was feeling. Like, hey, I'm so stressed out with this thing. I'm feeling here. And certainly she jumped also deep also and start not only counsel me from there, she shared deep things also. So I think the more we are open, the more we are true, the more we are authentic, the easier we can get help, even from other business people. Imagine when you walk in a store, if you tell a salesperson that, you know what, I don't know how to pick a color, I don't know how to pick a good suit, they will help you better than if you're trying to act like you know what you're doing, even though you don't know anything. So you answered it so well.
So true.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Coach Tunde. You want to go ahead with your question?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jacqueline, for for what you shared with us. It's just amazing. I'd like to ask two questions mainly. During your business life, or well, still your business life, your entrepreneurship, I want to ask, did you have any failures? Did you fail at any point in time? How many times did you fail? How were you able to get yourself up? What did you do? And I would like you to give an instance of that, an example of your failure and how you were able to bring yourself back and overcome that failure and turn it into success. That's my first question. The second question is about leveraging on other people. Societies are different. We sometimes we can't be in a kind of society where other people may not be, you may not be able to trust them entirely with your business, especially giving them or delegating to them. That is, it's like you're leaving your business in their hands. So that aspect of your business in their hands. What do you do in such circumstances? In certain societies, it's easy to trust people. In certain societies, it's not so easy to trust people. How do you overcome that kind of obstacle? Those are my questions. Thank you very much, Jacqueline.
Okay, thank you for that question. Beautiful questions. So first one, have I faced failures, and how was I able to get myself up? I faced lots of failures. In my businesses, thankfully, I'm so blessed that the businesses I started and ran were successful businesses. So they did not fail in the economic point of view. I didn't make perhaps as much money as I could have, helped as many people as I would have wanted to. But from a financial standpoint, they were successful, very successful businesses. From a personal standpoint, I felt myself and I felt people around me, again, by not celebrating and all those things, I really got myself to a point of such exhaustion and loss of drive that instead of propulsing those companies even further, creating more jobs, giving more opportunities and everything, the first business, I just sold it, not under the best conditions. So that was a failure. It deserves so much more. And the second one, instead of keeping it on its growth path, I started scaling it down. So that again was a failure because it impacts a lot of other people. Also, it was a failure because the pressures I was putting on myself, I was also bringing them forward to my loved ones and my community. I wasn't recentering myself, so I was always under stress. I was always on task. My daughter has mentioned recently that as a child, she was an excellent student. She always had wonderful grades, and that she was always looking for me to tell her, well done, congratulations, to celebrate with her, which is something I never did, because for me, it was normal that she would get good grades and move forward. So I would tell her, yes, of course you will have good grades. You're a very smart kid. I didn't know how to celebrate with her, reward her, to keep her momentum going. So it was more personal failures as opposed to business failures, and business failures in the sense that I could have achieved much more with that first company, and now I'm restructured the second one, so it's doing amazing. But I needed to learn those lessons. And it took me a long time to understand all of that. This is why I was sharing that with all of you, and I hope it will be of service to you. So leveraging other people. I understand your point about that. In certain societies, it's difficult. Maybe the structure to protect us is not in place. Maybe the infrastructure in general, whether it's political, legal, anything. I've personally lived in Haiti, as you all know, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, where a lot of these structures were lacking. So how do you trust in people? Well, the best way to do that is really to get them to have interest in what you're doing, be willing to share some of the benefits and process and things that you have, income you generate. So they're interested in the outcome as much as you are. I think that's the only way we can be sure that we can trust. You know, there's always people who will fail us, no matter where we are, whether it's in the US, in Europe, in anywhere. There's, you know, there will be people who will take advantage that we cannot trust, no matter how strongly we believe that we've protected ourselves. So the best thing is really making sure that the end result, we all align that we're all going to get something and win from that situation. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline.
You're welcome. Rafael, would you like to add to that?
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. I think you said it well. You know, create a mutual benefit in what you do. Sometimes the disloyalty, people are not born thief. People are not born disloyal. People are not born, it just developed, you know, based on what they're, you know, the different situation. And so I think Coach Jacqueline said it well. You know, you have to give people interest in whatever they are getting involved in it. So that's one thing. And I think the second thing I need to add on that is the power of vulnerability. I always say, if I want people to trust me, I must trust them first. I would never say, oh, trust me so I can trust you. No, I'd rather make a first step first and trust you. People are going to screw you, yes. People are going to take your idea and run with it, yes. It's going to happen, but not everybody. You know, you can date the wrong person. It doesn't make all men are bad or all women are bad. So it's just the way the world is. It's part of the game. You have to accept that. Somebody is going to take advantage on you with your business. If you trust 100 people, you know, few are going to do the wrong thing and some will do the great thing. So I focus on the right people. But I know that amongst the wrong people, it's just a business mind. You have to settle that. You can't just have the best. That's how it works. It's gonna rain on your parade sometimes. Sometimes you plan things that are not gonna come out the way you plan it. It's just life. So, and this first point that Coach Jacqueline actually mentioned, I think it's one of the things that I learned when you give people interest in whatever they are involved in it, you have less people who actually betray your trust because it becomes a common goal. You know, my thing is not my thing anymore, it's our thing. Matter of fact, it's your thing. Nobody will destroy what belongs to them. So it's one of the best way, win-win situation to partner with even a bad person. If somebody is even bad and they have the interest in something, they will protect it. So I think it's the best wisdom, you know, the best way. Thank you. Coach Stephanie, go ahead.
Good evening, Coach. Good evening, Coach Jacqueline. Thank you very much for your great sharing. I have two questions for you this evening. The first question is on self-care. I would love to understand if you have a self-care routine and how do you go about it?
Stephanie, what's this thing with two questions today? Everybody has two questions. Nobody want to do one question. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Go ahead, start over again.
Okay, my first question is on self-care. Do you have a self-care routine? How do you go about it? And the second question is, how do you deal with insecurities? Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So I definitely have a self-care routine. And again, that's something I learned. First of all, I make sure to eat healthy. I'm mostly a vegetarian. I eat fish. I don't eat much meat, but that's my preference just because I know it works better with my body. So I am mindful about what I eat. I eat, again, a clean diet, hydrate a lot. Then I make sure I sleep enough, that I rest and that I take time to resource. I start my days with a morning ritual. So I start by meditating. Then I exercise a little bit. I have celery juice, and then I have a light breakfast after that. I always listen. Now I listen. I used to love to read all the time, but now I compile, listening while I'm doing other things. I always listen to things that are going to move me forward in my business or personal development. So those are the moments I give to myself before I even look at emails, answer any messages or anything. It centers me to move forward with my day and then tackle all the other issues that are taking place. I've also learned now, as I mentioned earlier, to reward myself. When I accomplish something, or even, any little task, I cheer myself, I reward myself, I take some time off, I'll go get some chocolate, for example, it makes me happy. So, anything, stupid little things that, that contribute to that. And really, I listen to my body, listen to myself, and no longer let myself drive my complete exhaustion that I used to do before. I really listen to my body and myself and my mind and everything, and I honor it and I take care of it, because I've really learned that if I don't do that, I'm not able to run my businesses correctly. I'm not able to function properly, which is cheating myself, cheating others, and the end result is painful. So definitely, that's my self-care routine. So how do I deal with insecurity? We all have insecurity. Absolutely, all have insecurity. We always all doubt ourselves. I was terrified when on this call earlier. I saw your beautiful, friendly face. We always doubt ourselves. Are we going to be enough? Are we going to deliver properly for anything? And the way I deal with it is what Tony says. I always come from a place of wanting the best outcome for the people I'm interacting with. So I forget about myself and I just focus on the others. So it's really just forgetting about myself at that moment and being there and present for others. And that's how everything else becomes secondary.
Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And just to add something on that very quick, I just want to talk about insecurity. Just because, first of all, I have been victim of that a lot, and I would just want to share from a personal experience. I mean, when I start my business, first of all, I was hiring people who have that. I mean, I don't even have a high school diploma. So I was hiring people with with master in business administration. And these people, I need to give them direction and all this. First of all, my grammar was the lowest one. Even to put the sentence together was very hard for me. And you can feel intimidated with that. And then I started asking myself, but I learned this from Bob Proctor. What is my outcome here? Is it an English class or I'm give a direction for a business? So sometimes when we lose the focus on why we're sitting here in the first place, we can start focus on the wrong thing. We can start focus on the wrong thing. So if I'm here, I'm trying to teach you strategy and all that. I'm not here to teach you English. If I need to teach you English, I will send you to Coach Guy Bertrand or Coach Annabelle, so they can teach you English very well. So I shouldn't focus so much on my grammar so much, because it's just that you focus on your weakness and forget why you was there in the first place. If my hair is making me insecure because I didn't braid, I don't have a beautiful long hair. As a woman, are you a model that is trying to showcase your hair? Or what are you doing there in the first place? So I normally ask myself a question. So what am I doing? Why am I shining my focus on that area of my life? Because when we talk about insecurity, it's because we are telling ourselves something. I'm not enough with. I am not enough with. There's always the place that you are pointing at. Oh, I'm not tall enough. Oh, maybe my hair is not well done. Maybe my grammar is not the best. You know, so I learned how to stop lying to myself. First of all, I need to acknowledge that I'm not going to be good at everything. However, there are few things I'm the best at it. I know it, I'm very good at it. And I should always stop confuse myself with the outcome. What is my outcome in this thing? If you're meeting with maybe a general manager that I'm trying to hire, what is the outcome there? This person is come to work for my company. This is the prerequisites that I needed. This is how I must select the person. That have nothing to do with my personal, with my insecurity. Again, the insecurity is because you are telling yourself the wrong thing and you are rejecting yourself. Sometimes people have no idea. People are not even looking at that because that's not what they are looking for. So we have to make sure we change the way we communicate with ourselves, what we are telling ourselves. Stop rejecting yourself. Stop thinking that, hey, everybody knows that. People don't care. People, and sometimes nobody notice anything. I have a lady in church. She used to be depressed because she normally come to church every Sunday with a new purse, new shoes, and new clothes that match her shoes. Trust me, I've been in church with her for more than 5 years. I never noticed that. I was like, really? I never noticed that you change purse all the time or shoes. So sometimes you'll be so shocked when people don't even notice something that you're trying to kill yourself with. And this will always, do everything to focus on what is going to uplift you and not what is going to take you down. It's your job to communicate better with yourself. And then face it. Lastly, just face it. Face it. Talk about it. It's going to disappear. Tony always say depression or low self-esteem, it comes from the fear that you are not enough or you'll be rejected. I am not enough or they will reject me. So when you correct that, you will not have that sense of I'm not enough or I'm not accepted. And I love it. I took my first line of note here. Coach Jacqueline said something very, very powerful. She said, our difference is actually give us an unfair advantage. Wow. So what you think is diminish you is actually exalt you. And I use that a lot. I have an accent. When I go to any event, the first thing people want to ask me a question. That's how I make so many friends. I say hello, the next thing, like, where are you from? Good. So when people don't notice, I say a few more things. So you could notice my accent and then let's talk. Don't you want to know where I'm from? This So some stuff, the way you communicate with yourself will raise your self-esteem. Some stuff are just an unfair advantage, just like what Coach Jacqueline said. Some difference on you, So focus on that, let it uplift you and not think that it's diminish you. Beautiful question. Great question. Okay, Coach Kelvin.
Oh my God. I'm sure you cannot see my face, but I hope you can hear my voice, because I was just feeling that energy which was coming out of you. And I was saying, my God, wow. So thank you very much, Jacqueline, for all the tips, and what you have been sharing with us is just awesome. Please, I wanted to know, first of all, I said, Coach Hammer will say again, you have 2 questions. Yes, I have 2 questions. The first is just to know, what are those top 2, 3 things that makes you keep that your energy so high? Because I want my energy to go higher, higher every single day. And the second one is to know, what are those 2 books that actually transformed your mindset? I just want to know more about it. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. First thing, what are the top 2 things that keep me my energy high? First of all, the first thing is that I feel so grateful all the time about every little thing, every little thing. It sounds weird.
Do another one, round like that. I'll do the second.
It sounds weird. I have, it sounds really weird, but I really, that thing that Tony says, that life happens for us and not to us. Through my journey, I've learned that. So I try not to dwell on the things that I perceive as negative right now. And I always think there's a purpose for it. I don't understand it right now. It's a difficult moment to go through, but there's a purpose for it. And that anticipation that something good will come out of it keeps me from dwelling on it. And so I really have a sense of gratitude for the people in my life, for my circumstances, for the challenges I faced, for anything. I really do. So that helps keep my energy up. Obviously, I have to say the beautiful people I've been lucky to have around me and surround me. But I also think that the energy we portray, as Raphael was saying, will attract also that type of feedback from others. They will open up more, they will be more truthful, they'll be more empowering because they will feel more at ease, and it creates a synergy that is just beautiful. So it's a question of that, that energy really comes from being thankful even for the hard times, and we've all had hard times. And just focusing on the outcome, the positive outcome that will be there, and believing in that and having faith. I have a lot of faith. And then obviously surrounding myself with empowering people. And there's some people sometimes you have to wish the best to, but separate ourselves a bit from, because there are those people who will, unfortunately, are not at a stage where they want to wish us well, or just their energy is super heavy. And when we have a lot of responsibilities, if we're not able to help or contribute, or they're not willing to be at that, to be helped, then we really have to wish them well, separate ourselves so we can continue, with a high energy, shining and hopefully contributing and serving others and ourselves. So that's amazing. 2 books. The 2 books that have changed my way of seeing things. My goodness, you know what? It's so difficult for me to come up with any books right now. As a kid, I escaped by reading nonstop. I've read thousands of books. We moved around so often. I had a feeling, as I told you earlier, of never really belonging. So when we were in the playgrounds at school and everything, I never really interacted with the other kids because I felt different. I knew I was different. They looked at me differently, and so I was so shy at the time that, to escape that, I would always have a book in my hand and I would always be reading. So there are so many books that have impacted me. The top 2, difficult for me to tell you. It's a series of books which are not even published anymore. Those are novels. So those are not even business books that I'm going to be sharing with you or anything. They were really not big literature or anything. But as a young woman, when I read them, it was Angélique Marquise des Anges. It's the title in French, and it's a series of about 20 books. And it's the story of this woman who's facing so many adversities, but she just keeps on going and going and going. And I think it really shaped a lot of my outcome. You know, I never give up. I keep on going. I pick myself back up and continue moving forward. And that's a book that, you know, impacted me back in the days. Second book, I don't know, there's just so many. I'll let Rafael answer his two favorite books or most impactful books.
Thank you very
Nice.
much.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. 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 And before I share maybe my two favorite books, I want to just say that Coach Kelvin, you really noticed that I was in Florida with Coach Jacqueline. She called the brother, that was the older brother, the younger brother, right? That was your younger brother. So she called the younger brother for his birthday. The younger brother is a very close person. And I just hear how she was talking to the younger brother and cheer the younger brother. And I was like, wow. And then at the end, when she hung the phone, she told me that the younger brother is really close. They live not too far, but he's the type of guy that is very, very close. But when she addressed him, I mean, like, it's like the energy, the fire is pumping. I would say, wow. You know, naturally, we'll be hot with people that are hot with us, right? But she actually could trigger that and pass that. You're not going to affect her state with your attitude or with where you are. And I think that's one of the great traits every coach or every leader must have. And I picked that from you that day. So I think even if you are my worst enemy, I would come with so much energy. You'll be like, man, this guy, do you know that? So that's just something I want to share that really, really touched me when we were in Florida for an event together. So you truly noticed that, Coach Kelvin. So one of the way I can tell you how to pick a book. It's hard for me to tell you what book was my favorite two book because I'm pushing and trying to go through audio and all that, at least 4 to 5 books per week. I don't listen or read to get some specific thing. I read to know, to grow, to become better. So I have a pattern that I'll give you. Like the book that I'm reading now is by Ray Dalio on the changing world order. The book actually takes you like 500 years back, economy, global economy, war economy, how the world move and all that. So it's mind blowing. This for me as a business person, with where I am, I have a global organization that I'm impacting 2 billion people. So I had to change my mind. I had to think like emperor. I have to think like those that, you know, how do they rule gymnastic? How do they rule, you know, how the world was before and all that. So why am I saying this? Always get the role model and start big book based on the type of person you want to become. There's no such a thing as a specific book. When I want to increase my marriage, I found the best book on marriage, immerse myself in it. Based on my vision, I lined up some of the leaders that I actually think that way and get all their book and read. One book is not going to answer all, or 2 books. One of the books that shaped my life completely is Think Big and Kick Ass by Donald Trump. That book changed my whole life, for example. But it's not enough. That was then. That was like 4 years, or I mean, probably about 7, 8 years ago. So book will always bring different change in your life. But always align the book with your vision. Whatever you want to do, ask yourself, who can I model? Everything Tony Robbins put his hand on, I already read it. John C. Maxwell, the same thing. I wake up with somebody I want to be like it. I go to bed with somebody that I want to be like it. And the best way is through books. I used to tell people that Donald Trump is my best friend. They was like, do you know him? I said, of course. I listen to him every day for hours. He's my business coach, you know. So pick a book based on where you are going, based on your role model. And so, but if you ask me the second book that fascinates me, no, not the second one. The first one is the Bible, because everything I face, I found in the Bible. And, you know, other now complemented only. That may not be the best for you or the first for you. So get the role model, find out, get the biographic, get the, you know, whatever they tap it into the brain. Tap it into the brain and get some knowledge, get close to them by read when they actually left out here. Good question. But if it's somebody wants to be going crazy, go and read the book, The Changing World Order. It's powerful by Ray Dalio. The Changing World Order is powerful. I mean, when you finish that, you don't need to learn history anymore. Economy, history, and all kind of stuff. Very, very powerful. Thank you, Coach Kelvin. Coach Kelvin is one of the certified John C. Maxwell, and she carried the youth, ILEAD Global Youth, you know, on the global scale. So, and she also carried a huge library for books. I think that's why she asked that question. She encouraged people to read. Whatever book you need, make sure you reach out to Coach Kelvin. She'll make sure she make it available to you. And they are beautiful people with her husband. We spent time when I was in Cameroon, and I just love your spirit and your passion for youth. You know, your passion for youth.
Thank you,
awesome.
Coach Raphael.
Coach Vivian, go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you once more for this brilliant presentation. Coach Jacqueline, I have some questions. It's going to help me also to move forward, okay? Sorry if the questions are too personal. It's according to your journey, what you told us before, and it will also help me to move on. Actually, you told us that you were from Europe to US, and then you became you are an entrepreneur. But the first thing I want to know, what makes you to decide to follow Tony Robbins? Is it your only coach that you have? And as an European, did you start business in Europe, or you went to America before you started creating your business? And if you have not just a coaching business, which other business do you have? Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for those questions.
Yeah.
First of all, my father's Spanish. My mother is American, Black, to be more precise on top of that, because for her it's very important. You know, she was raised at a time where there was segregation and all of that. So I was raised with those distinctions. When I was born, at that time, my parents were living in Europe. They were actually living in Spain, but I was born in France. And then we continued moving throughout Europe, because it was still a difficult time in the US to be a mixed race couple. So they had chosen not to live in the US because of the discrimination and all of that. So they chose to raise us in Europe in those years. So that's why I started out in Europe. But by the age of 16, I had already moved back to the US. That's why I have an accent when I speak. I never got rid of my accent because we used to speak French and Spanish at home. So, so I really don't identify as being Spanish or French or American or anything. I've lived in so many different countries. One of the countries that has impacted me the most is Haiti, for example. I was there as a teenager. I'm not Haitian, but it's one of the places that really had an impact on who I became, and just the country, the people, everything. So I'm really the sum, as I was saying in my presentation, of the different cultures, experiences, and all of that I've experienced along my journey. My first business, actually, I started it in the US. So, it just happened that at that moment in my life, I was living in the US. So it was, that's where I started my first business. At the time also, again, that those perceived things that we have that, we don't have all the tools, the whatever. I had just arrived from Europe at that moment. I had been living back and forth between Europe and the US. And I had just come back from Europe. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've never done business here. How am I going to start a company? How am I going to do this? So, just the limitations we are. My second business, I started it in Europe. Same thing, when I started that business in France, I'm not French, I speak French fluently, but I'm not French. I don't have their codes. I don't have their, the business language they use. I don't have, I didn't know the rules and everything. It's all, again, limitations that we perceive, which actually I'm not, because the fact that we don't know those things and that we are foreigners or we're different or whatever allows us to ask the questions that maybe someone else would be embarrassed to ask. So it's something that we can really leverage and take advantage of. So my first business started in the US. My second business started in Europe. Honestly, right now, I feel that I can go anywhere in the world because there are processes to be followed. And just, first of all, trusting in ourselves and asking and leveraging the things we don't know. So that's the main thing. What prompted me to follow Tony Robbins? Well, along my journey, obviously, I've always, as I mentioned earlier to Coach Calvin, I've always been someone who likes to learn growth and personal development. I'm extremely curious. This is where I've traveled to over 80 countries. I'm someone who likes to challenge myself, to grow, to learn, to understand. So I've always, along the years, listened to motivational speakers, and Tony Robbins, obviously, for me, is the absolute best. So that's why I became a platinum member. What prompted me to find the time to do it is because of the lockdowns. They shut down my business in Europe. In a lot of the countries, I thought I was well diversified. We manage properties in different markets for vacation rentals. And I thought that, I was well diversified, I'd be fine. But at the same time, they started shutting us down in all different markets in different countries. So I had all of a sudden a lot of free time on my hands, which I took advantage of. Becoming a Plat member. They were offering some of the program online, and to further, the different people and programs that I was interested in. And I really, really encourage you all to continue on this journey of self-development. It is so useful. The other question you had, well, I hope that I answered your question. I cannot reread my writing, but I think that's basically what you were asking me. Do you have any other question, or did I answer your question properly?
Yeah, but you said your business other than coaching was into properties, right?
So my first business, I was a manufacturer of women's clothing, cocktail evening dresses. Then we evolved the collections into chic day outfits, sportswear, and things like that. So it was in the clothing industry. We were manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, and retailers. So from being manufacturers and wholesalers, I started opening our own company stores, which is a completely different way of running businesses because you need much more references. In fact, there's a bunch of things that come into play. So that was my first venture into business. I started doing that by opening the Spanish market to one of the existing brands we had. And by opening the market is getting into the best stores, finding agents, representatives to represent the brand. But I was just going in and out as a consultant. I wasn't really properly running the business. I was putting people in place to run the business. And when I came to the US, I decided to actually properly create a structure, a company, and I started importing, besides the things we manufactured, other brands that I started distributing in the US market that I sold to a lot of specialty stores, department stores, and then opened a chain of company stores. So that was the first business. I told you earlier, I'm completely burnt out. I really worked myself to a point of exhaustion. I didn't know how to pace myself. I didn't know how to reward myself, which was a big, big, big mistake. So at one point I just wanted out and we sold that business. So that gave me a little bit of time to try to see where I wanted to go next. What I really needed to do was just to recuperate some strength because again, you know, I had just pushed myself too hard. And then my second business at that moment, I had moved back to Paris because my second daughter, her father is French and she didn't speak French very well. So I decided to move to Paris so she would practice her French. And that's where it was at the very beginning of the vacation rental industry. And I saw an opportunity there from having been traveling and everything. And I saw really that need. And I was one of the very first ones to doing this in Paris. And from there, a lot of people started asking me, could you please manage our properties for us? And from being in one city, it started to be in another city, in another country, and so on. So it's more being able to have identified opportunities and you're able to identify opportunities when you're curious, when you challenge yourself, when you're interested in what's going on, when you read, when you speak to other people. And that's where you're able to identify opportunities and jump on them. And now the third venture that is starting to go well is something which has to do with hospitality. So importing some products from it's Hong Kong actually, which are meant for the hospitality industry. And so that's the new challenge, while obviously I'm still running my other business. But really what I've understood is that once you have the processes in place, if it's in business in general, coaching is a different thing. If it's in business in general, once you have the processes in place, it's easy or much easier to succeed by hiring, again, the people that have the skills you need them to have, and just putting those processes in place and trust in ourselves and seek the resources or the knowledge or the coaching when in doubt. I hope that answered your question.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. You answer more than enough. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Vivian. Okay, we'll take the last question. Pastor Remy, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raphael. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I was in another meeting, so I kind of joined late. I don't know if my question must have already been asked or possibly may have already been answered by your story. But the short time I've been in the meeting, I've watched you. I mean, you've really said some very important things, especially when it comes to do with books, how these books really shape our destinies. But I have Raphael, I have two questions. I have two questions, and I will try to ask those two questions. And whenever I talk with great people, I always like to get these questions answered because it really helps me to know how I go about my own activities so I don't make mistakes that they have made. So, how did you, I know in your journey, you should have had points of weakness and points of strength. And what I'm trying to find out is how did you turn your weaknesses to your strength? And secondly, the next question is, if you were to start all over again, what will you do differently?
Okay, Questions. What would I do differently? Okay, well, excellent. So the first questions, how did I turn my weaknesses into my strengths? By understanding that my perceived weaknesses were not, and that's where, when I understood that, I really leveraged those perceived challenges in my advantage. You know, it served me to be actually different. It served me to be a foreigner. As Raphael said, it served me to have an accent. Except for French, I have an accent almost in every language. When I'm in Spain, they think I'm South American. When I'm in South America, they think I'm Spanish. Here in the US, they don't know what to do of me. In France, I speak French like a French person, but they know I'm not French because, again, I will behave differently. So those things which as a young woman or a child I thought were weaknesses, I realized that those were real tools for me to do the things under my terms, the way they fit me, the way that were in my benefit. And again, to ask the questions that someone else maybe would have been fearful to ask by fear of being judged or anything else, which I didn't care. I didn't care because anyways, I was an outsider. So there was always more willingness to do that. In terms of my other witnesses, there's so many, like, for example, I mentioned, you know, no matter how often you can speak in public or in front of a stage and get up and ask for a question. I admire all of you. You know, we have that apprehension and everything. So how do I overcome them? It's again, you know, by what is the end result I want? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do? How do I need to grow? How can I contribute? So I just focus on the outcome as opposed to what's going on. And really realizing that what we see as our weaknesses might be what we see as being our weaknesses, but they're actually strengths for someone else, and again, it's all perceived. You know, there's one thing that Tony says all the time: change your story, change your life. So I've also focused things that happened to me in my life. I see them differently. That comes with the effective blaming. And I really am thankful for challenges that I've faced, things that I perceived that I lacked, understanding that it brought me forward in my path, made me perhaps work harder, you know, be more empathic, all those things which have helped me at the end. So I hope that answers that question. If I were to start all over again, what would I do differently? You missed the beginning of the speech, which is basically, I would take time to reward myself, to celebrate each and every one of the accomplishments, to reward and acknowledge the people around me, and to just learn to listen to myself, rest when needed, take time, recenter, enjoy, because that's where I would have been able to, I think, achieve probably more, but especially do it with more joy and fulfillment in my life. So now I'm definitely applying that as much as I can. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, we have to, could we just go ahead and put a big heart if you have to open your mic, and let's thank Coach Jacqueline. I mean, this is incredible. This is a mind-blowing.
Thank
I was
you.
not expecting her to deliver this much.
So much.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you.
Always.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank
Really
you so much.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Awesome,
Thank you so
awesome,
much.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for opening up so freely as well.
Yes. So for those who know who understand French, she's gonna be available again in a French section. So, but if you ask question in the English class, don't ask question in French. No, just kidding. Hey, Jacqueline, thank you so much. I mean, we love you. You add so much value to us, and we can promise you that you know, all this, everything you sold, we'll go out there and really practice that. Maybe this recording is going to be replayed again, so other people can learn. Those that was not able to make for this class, they can learn again. We really appreciate you. I mean, your authenticity, and you know, you share from your heart. You give us everything you can give, and you know, thank you so much. Could you go ahead and put the big heart to say goodbye to Coach Jacqueline? We want her to take a few minutes to breathe before jumping the next class, please. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And congratulations again. All right. I'll see you later, Hafel.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Wow. This is awesome. It was great. It was wonderful. You know, I think we need to find more women coach. They just know how to share from the heart, you know. So I love it. I love it. I think I should let Coach Guy or Coach give us what you need for the graduation. We have the graduation is coming up this month. We don't want to cut you loose without give you everything in place. Your landing pages, your books, and all this thing needs to come out. You know, you have to be ready to continue your journey. It's not like you'll be alone, but we want to leave you like, you know, just like this is a serious deal. You put 1 year into this. So we are not taking this lightly, and we want to recognize you and, you know, have the proper certification, have the proper landing page for you. So, you know, you can take the identity to go with it, and we'll always be there to back you up. You know, we'll always be there to back you up. So Coach Guy will share some of that. I don't know if he already know the graduation day already. I know it's gonna be in February, this month. So it's gonna be maybe one Saturday. You just have to put your gown up, your beautiful gown, bring all your friends. Let us celebrate you and, you know, release you the proper way, so you can go to the next level. All right, so Coach Guy, go ahead and share that. I don't know, Coach Tunde also, if there's gonna be an announcement, go ahead and wrap up, and I will see you in a graduation day. But let's stay in touch. Let's stay in touch. I think most of you guys, you have my number. Don't be a stranger. I may not answer you immediately, but I definitely have time that I sit down and answer. Give me a voice message. Don't send me like 36 pages of things I need to go read. I like the voice, because even if I'm driving, I can listen. Yeah, some of you send me like 40-page question. Come on. You know, voice is quick, because even if I'm driving, I can go over and listen and reply. You know, WhatsApp gives us that advantage. But let's stay in touch. Let's stay in touch, and I'm sure we'll probably be in the one-on-one coaching class. That is, you know, where Coach Jacqueline, she was trained by Tony Robbins. Matter of fact, she didn't tell you guys, she have a big close line of clothes that she sold for multi-million. I know that was over $50 million. She's very humble. So she has a company similar to MDMB all over the world. When if you travel, she can give you a house wherever you go. So she's very, very humble. Trust me, she's very, very humble. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter where you are, you can get where you want to go. I'm an example. I think I'm the least in this class. You know, Even in my neighborhood, people was telling me that you're gonna fail. But one of the unfair advantage is I glue myself on people with knowledge and learn from them. If y'all want to know things about Nigeria, I'm not gonna go there and learn myself. I'll call Margaret. She's gonna she's gonna take her 30-some years that she spent in Nigeria and compress and give it to me. I can call Coach Tunde. Tunde will take all the years, all the experience, and press and give it to me. I can call Coach Mute, the same thing. So when I hit the ground, I will be most wise, the most Nigerian, because I'm taking other people's experience. I don't have to go and learn and make a mistake on my own. It's called wisdom. When the colon came to Africa, they taught us be the number one and be alone. It's only in Africa that people trying to succeed alone. Everywhere, people team up, people merge, and people learn from others. So I want us to stick together and grow together. The world is a playground, just like what Tony always say. We could learn from one another. We could leverage one another to do, incredible things. So thank you so much. I love you guys. I'm not gonna miss you, because if I don't see you, I'll be knocking on your door. If I don't see you in the next class and next day, I'll come and look for you where you are. Thank you so much, and you have a great, great, great Friday. All my love.